Hi, this is Saptarshi and I welcome you on a video tutorial on t-distribution for data scientists. So t-distribution is a statistical technique, okay, which creates a lot of fears. However, our focus will be how we can use this for some of the areas in data science and machine learning, okay. Just to give you a visual cue, this is Google Trends chart. So this blue line represents community's interest from Google search of one topic, and red line represents interest about another topic. One is about support vector machine, one of the popular algorithms in machine learning, and another is about t-test. So you can understand this blue line is about t-test. So still more popular than one of the most popular machine learning algorithms. Let's see what are the different scenarios where we can use t-test. One of the scenarios is validation of a model. Next two scenarios are in feature selection or attribute selection. Scenario 4 is about how we can compare two models or two methods using t-test or t-distribution. And then I will point your interest at some of the very important further readings. Alright, so first with the model validation. So let's assume that you want to find the take-home salary of a student in a college depending on his aptitude score in mock test. Okay, so on campus take-home salary basically, and let's say you fit a linear regression model. So it will go like this: salary equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 in aptitude. Okay, and this beta 0 and beta 1 will call as parameters of the model. Which value of beta 0 and beta 1 will be chosen? So if we plot it in a scatter plot, so this may be your aptitude scores and this may be your salary. Then each of these circles represent individual students. Okay, and this blue line actually represents the model that you have come up with. So this is your beta 0, this intercept is your beta 0, and slope of this line is your beta 1. Okay, so you can understand that if I fit a line like this, okay, or if I fit a line like this, then these two, the blue line is better fit. How do you know this? Because actually we are looking at the error for each of the students. Okay, so what is the error for each of the student? Let's pick this student. So this is the actual value, this is the predicted value. So error for this particular student is this much, and you will pick that beta 0 beta 1 which will minimize this error for all the observations. Okay, so this can be stated in terms of your hypothesis. Okay, so your null hypothesis is there is no relationship or beta 1 is 0. So basically what that means is that you have something like a straight line which is parallel to the x-axis. Okay, and that means that the salary has no effect on your aptitude score. So this is your null hypothesis, the model is not valid. Okay, and H1 is alternative hypothesis, which means the relationship exists and the model is valid. Okay, let's look at another example. So here, there are 4 attributes or 4 features. So this is your dependent variable, the sales, and these are your independent variables. Okay, so basically given the advertisement spent on TV, radio and newspaper, you want to find out the sales of a particular product. In the first scenario, let's say you are fitting the straight line with only TV. Now, if you use linear regression using any of the tools, it may give you a table like this. So all R, SPSS or Python give you output like this. And there are 2 things that you are interested at. One is your T statistics and another is your P value. Okay, so for your model validation, you are more interested at the P value. Just to refresh, your P value is nothing but probability of the null hypothesis. The probability of null hypothesis means that probability that the model doesn't exist given the data. Okay, so this is your P value. So naturally, you want the P value to be very, very small, because then only you will say that this is not true, right? That the null hypothesis is not true and will reject the null hypothesis. So for the first scenario, both for intercept and TV, the P value is very small. Now when we have used intercept, TV, radio and newspaper, you will see the P value for newspaper is very high. whereas for others the p-value is still very small. So that means this parameter or this variable is not appropriate or not valid for this model. Okay. So there are some error terms associated with hypothesis testing. Let's do a quick recap of that. Okay. So there can be a scenario where the null hypothesis is true, that is the model is not valid, and you reject the null hypothesis. So you call this as type 1 error, which is also called as false positive. Okay. And there can be another scenario where the null hypothesis is false, however you have failed to reject the null hypothesis. So this you call as type 2 error. So all statistical tests that you try to do tries to minimize this type 1 error and type 2 error. Okay. Now, one question that can come to your mind is that essentially what we are trying to find out is that whether the coefficients are non-zero or not. So for that, why can't we use z-test or normal distribution? Because you know that normal distribution is the most commonly occurring distribution. Okay. So let's look at where you use t-test and where you use z-test. So when you know the population of the standard deviation, okay, and the sample size is large, then you use z-score. And when you don't know the standard deviation, you use the t-score, and when it is a small sample, then also you use the t-score. So can you pause for a moment and tell me that when the situation is more uncertain, right? For z-test or t-test. So you can understand that for t-test, the scenario is more uncertain because neither you know the standard deviation nor the sample size is large. So as your sample size grows, your confidence also grows, right? Okay. So this is how your t distribution looks like, okay? And this is how your t distribution looks like, okay? So you see that for normal distribution, more probability is around the center, and for t distribution, the tails are much more flat, okay? So what does that mean is that if your model has to be valid, okay, so for t distribution, it should have a much higher value, right? So let's compare the values for once. So if your significance value is given as 5% or 0.05, then the corresponding z values are 1.96 and minus 1.96. So what does that mean is that if you get your linear regression value beta 1, if you get a beta 1 of let's say 0.5, okay, then your model is not valid in terms of z-test, okay. However, in t-test, you can understand that this must be a bigger value, okay. So t-test also has something as degree of freedom. So this degree of freedom is directly related to number of observations in the sample. So you can understand that my confidence goes up when I have more number of observations. So if you have only maybe 2 or 3 observations, right? So the value that was earlier 1.96, it has to be more than 4.3, okay, for the model to be valid. For 29, the value needs to be more than 2.04 for the model to be valid. So this 1.96 actually corresponds to 30 samples, 2.04 value in t-test, right? So you can understand that t-test is more conservative, okay, because the situation is more uncertain for a t-test. This is your scenario 1. In scenario 2, you intend to use t-test for feature selection for a binary classification problem. So binary classification problem means that you have 2 classes. Let's take another case where there are attributes like number of superstars, budget, and number of songs for a movie, and you want to determine whether the movie will be hit or flop. So these are your 2 classes, okay. So how you can use t-test? So t-test actually can be used to compare 2 groups, okay. So how do I get 2 groups? So these hit movies will give you one group, and these flop movies will give you another group. So for each of the attributes, actually, we find the mean of that attribute for these 2 groups, something like this, right? So we see that for the budget, hit movies have more budget, like 10.2 million USD, than flop movies. Number of superstars is also more for hit movies. Number of songs doesn't show that much of variation. Okay. How do you calculate the t value for two groups? Okay. For those who are mathematically inclined, you basically need the mean of these two distributions or these two groups. Okay. And then you also need the sample variance and also the sample size. So this N1 is actually number of movies. So if there are 100 movies, 30 are hit, N1 is 30 and N2 is 70. Okay. So that's how you can calculate the t value. Now what you do is you find out t value correspond to all these three features. So maybe something like this. Okay. And you see that your budget has the highest t value. So here we are no longer interested in the p value. So budget has highest t value. So we know that this is the most important feature as far as classifying the movies into hit and flop is concerned. So this is for binary classification. Hit distribution can compare two groups. However, how do I extend this for multi-classification or multi-class classification? Now, let's also discuss one of the application areas of t-test. So it turns out that in bioinformatics, t-test is used a lot. Okay. And here the data is very different. So generally what happens is that your number of observations is much more. Okay. So number of observations are given as n. So this is much more than number of variables which is given as p. Okay. However, in case of bioinformatics, it is just the other way around. So here you have number of patients which are much less than number of features which are number of genes. The genes run into 10,000, 15,000 like that. Okay. So the t-test can be very effective in this kind of scenarios. Now the question still remains how to extend this to multi-class. So let's imagine a scenario. Let's say there are symptoms of a patient. So symptoms may be fever, maybe body ache, maybe headache. Okay. And the classes are, or the diagnoses are flu, viral fever or malaria. Okay. So this is not binary classification. This is a multi-class classification problem. So actually two gentlemen comes to rescue who are Trevor Hesty and T. Shibrani. I am sure you know about them. They are like gods of machine learning. And they proposed another way of calculating the t statistic. So they say you create two groups. Okay. So one you create for flu. Okay. One group is for flu, which you represent by this XIC. And you combine this viral fever and malaria into one group and you calculate the mean. Okay. So similarly, SI is the sample variance of flu and S0 is sample variance of this. Okay. But one of the problem that can come to your mind is that in that case, for let's say fever, okay, you have three classes, right? And you get values like maybe for the first one, you get value 2.5. Next one, you get a value of 1.2. And then the last one, you get a value of 1.8, right? So you get three values. And similarly, for each of the features, you will get three values. How do you do the feature selection? So we refer to another paper where what they have used it, they have simply used the maximum value of this. So they have sorted the features by maximum value of this class specific t values. All right. Okay. So this is your scenario 3. Now scenario 4. Scenario 4 is that you have, so this is also a very common scenario. There are two classifiers or two methods and you have run, so maybe you have modified C4.5 with some modification, so you are calling it C4.5 with some modification. Okay, and you want to establish that mean of these methods, okay, or classification. Let's say these are your classification accuracies. So basically you want to say that classification accuracy of this method is better than the original method. And these are essentially your different data sets. Okay, these are your different data sets. So for this also you can use t-test. However, there is one small difference with what we have discussed on the two group t-test earlier. Is here you are using on the same set of data sets or same set of observations. So earlier when we are comparing between heat and flop, so we are comparing different set of movies. However, here we are comparing same set of data sets. So it is possible to do that very much. So this is called a paired t-test or dependent t-test of difference. Okay. So scenario 4 is a paired t-test, and scenario 2 and 3 actually falls under independent t-test for difference, and scenario 1 is called as one sample test. So if you read about t-test, you will see that 3 application cases. So these are the 3 application cases. Okay. Now let's look at some of the shortcomings of t-distribution. So the paired t-test can also be done on single data set if multiple training set and testing set are generated. Okay, so you have only one application data and you want to see that which data set is better. So you can use different seed values and generate different training set and testing set combinations and calculate the classification accuracy. Okay. So however, it turns out that there is another famous test called as McNemar's test, which uses a table like this. It calculates that how many cases model 1, model 2 both were correct, how many cases model 1 was correct and model 2 was correct, something like a confusion matrix if you look carefully. Okay. Also, t-test has some assumptions, which are it assumes that it is normally distributed like Z distribution, and it is very much affected by presence of outliers. Okay. So for that, there is another test which is used is quite famous, is Wilson signed ranks test. Okay. So these are also a couple of tests which are very famous and you should know about this. Now some further readings. So this is one very famous paper named as Statistical Comparisons of Classifiers over Multiple Data Sets. Okay, so this appeared in Journal of Machine Learning Research, JMLR. Okay, and it has a citation of 8,434, which tells you how popular or how useful this particular paper is. Okay, I will also attract your attention to one book called as Evaluating Learning Algorithms. So this is only on statistical test, how you can use different statistical tests for evaluating learning algorithms. And also I will point your attention to Efficient Statistical Feature Selection Approach, another paper, a recent paper where t-test has been used. So I told you that it is used a lot in bioinformatics data. So this is one such example. And finally, I will also, draw your attention to Sebastian's blogs. Okay, so he writes beautiful blogs on different topics. Okay, so that brings us to the closer of this session. Okay, so thanks a lot, guys, for listening to. And if you have any question, please feel free to give them in comment section. And please do subscribe and like if you find the video useful. Thank you so much for watching, guys.